On June 1st, 1921, the Tulsa, Oklahoma neighborhood known as Greenwood was looted and burned to the ground by a white mob. 35 city blocks were destroyed, and 300 people are believed to have lost their lives. 2 days earlier, an encounter between a black man and a white woman in a downtown elevator sparked a confrontation between whites and blacks, which resulted in the destruction of one of the nation's most successful black neighborhoods, famously known as Black Wall Street. As we approached the 100th anniversary of the massacre, we wanted to meet and hear the voices of those who live and work in the Greenwood neighborhood. With that, we present Greenwood, Here and Now.
First of all, Senator Matthew, thank you so much once again for agreeing to do this. And, I know that this is definitely something that you are invested in because if obviously looking at you're the founder of the 1921 Centennial Commission highlighting the rise and fall of Black Wall Street in Tulsa. Senator, if you could just tell us what this project means for you and how it's going so far.
Well, what this project means for me is the opportunity to honor the lives and businesses lost here in Tulsa, in the Greenwood area, to commemorate the event and educate in a transparent way, and in hopes of creating the new Black Wall Street mindset and teaching young folks that greatness happened here. And that greatness shouldn't have ended 100 years ago. Now it's 100 years. This we're in 2021. But can be rejuvenated by being transparent, by being honest, and then by being intentional rather than emotional. And so my goal when I started this was to commemorate the 100-year anniversary, to educate, to tell in a transparent way, to honor the lives of those lost and the descendants, and to spur economic development and entrepreneurship today in the same community where this horrific incident happened.
Now 100 years, if we can get it working again. Testing. Okay, I'm just going to restart the question. Now that it is coming up on the 100th anniversary of the Race Massacre over there in Greenwood, how would you say the businesses are progressing towards getting back to the prosperous state in which it once was?
Well, I think that there's a slow start, and there's a lot of distrust in the community around those things that can happen and things that will be supported long term. And so things are moving slowly. Now, there are some that are bringing businesses to the area and are willing to start, but there are a lot that are hesitant to see if they're going to get the access to capital necessary, if they're going to get the support that's necessary to be successful. And so after 100 years of disappointment, it was very difficult for people to just be excited and jump out there. But there are several pioneers, if you would, that have started new businesses. And there are businesses that we haven't seen African Americans have for many years. There's a young lady doing apartments. There are several people that are buying and rebuilding and fixing up homes and becoming landlords and those types of things. That has happened sporadically through these 100 years, but we have a new generation of young people that are doing it bigger and better. There's young ladies that's opened up a bookstore. There's fitness centers. There's several new businesses that are opening up on Greenwood, but not as rapidly as I would like to see. But progress is happening incrementally.
Senator Matthews, you're a native Tulsan, if I have that correct. What was it like for you growing up in this city? And how did you sort of learn about the Race Massacre? Because many people, as many people as I talk to about this, there's so many people that will say, that they haven't heard of it or whatever. So how was it taught to you growing up?
It was not taught to me growing up.
Wow.
I did not hear about it until I was almost an adult, and I had my grandmother's brother that lived in California when we went to visit, told me about it and had a video tape that someone had made trying to tell that story. But I hadn't heard of it, didn't know about it, and was shocked to learn about it. And then after I got the videotape and read a few things, I didn't hear about it for many more years. And it wasn't until I got elected to the state house, and after my first 3 years in the state house, I had people in the Greenwood area and that were upset that I hadn't done anything related to the Greenwood area since I had been in office. And so that's when I started to meet with folks in the area and started to see how we could form a coalition. And I called it a commission around addressing this issue, and never in my wildest dreams thought it would evolve into what's happening today. But very excited about it.
That's great to hear. Yeah, it seems like you're doing, fantastic work. When you sort of see the new movements of people trying to educate other people about this Tulsa Race Massacre that happened 100 years ago, whether it's new documentary series, whether it's the class that we're doing right now, whether it's anything else, how does that make you feel? As someone who grew up in Tulsa, to see so many people now starting to understand what really happened way back 100 years ago now.
Well, it's exciting to see, but we wanted to formalize the process. So we have a Teachers Institute that's connected to the commission and the work. Dr. Carlos Hill, that teaches African American Studies at Oklahoma University, he has been the head of that for 3 years. We have a formal curriculum. We have 2 curriculums that's available online, www.tulsa2021.org, where you can learn more about what we have going on. But Dr. Carlos Hill has done a Teachers Institute starting with Tulsa Public Schools, and Superintendent Dr. Gist financed it for the first 2 years, and now this last year he did it statewide, but because of COVID, it went virtual, and people from across the United States participated. That's very exciting to have a formal way to do that. And this year, our goal is to try to incorporate more methods of testing and validation of people actually learning it. And so I get a great deal of satisfaction to have been part of helping those things to happen.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah. And obviously you've had a great amount of success in doing so. Senator Matthews, let me ask you this. So it says here on one of your bios here that at one point you were invited to the White House, the West Wing of the Obama White House. What was it like as a young man growing up in Tulsa, to get to that point? Obviously, you're on the stage as a state senator now as well, but to be honored and to go to the White House, to the West Wing, what was that like?
It was a surreal moment. It was unbelievable to me. I couldn't believe it when it was happening. I didn't understand why I was invited, but I was excited. And what it appeared to be, when we were meeting with his chief of staff, and we were told that, just ironically, I live in one of the reddest states in the United States. Oklahoma is the only state that not one county voted for the Obama presidency in his full 8 years in office. And so I think that they had called in people in red states where he didn't have, and we didn't have at that time. I'm a Democrat, he was a Democrat, but this is a Republican-led state, from the governor to the legislature to even our mayor. Mayors in our two major cities are all Republican, and the fact that I was having monthly community meetings and given the other viewpoint, I think that they chose people whose the president's voice was not getting to their state, and being an elected official on the state level of that party, I think that's why I got invited, because I could get some of the messages directly from the president's chief of staff about, and let them know what we're doing in Oklahoma, because they weren't getting it at the federal level. We didn't have any representatives at the federal level that were Democrat or that represented this underserved community that I represent in my now Senate district and House district. And I learned that was the reason for us to get direct information that we couldn't get, maybe we may not be getting from the federal level, and then form a direct relationship. And it was one of the greater honors of my life to get that opportunity.
That's fascinating to hear, Senator Matthews. Thank you so much, for all your insight today, and for all that you do, in terms of progressing the community and especially the Greenwood district. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for doing this work. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Greenwood Here and Now is produced by the Ocali Media Group. Thank you for listening.